Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and comment on what you thought of this story.
My name is Marina, and the first time I saw her, I thought winter itself had chosen her body as a home. Room 312 smelled like disinfectant and old orange peels, that faint sourness that lingers after too many midnights. Lydia had stopped eating. She refused broth, porridge, even the small biscuits that crumble like snow beneath the teeth. Her lips glowed faintly, like a candle that had already died but still remembered fire. Yet the monitor beside her hummed with an unsettling steadiness, as if something else, something unseen, kept her pulse alive. The curtain trembled with a breeze no one could trace. I leaned closer with a spoon in hand, feeling the chill creep along the back of my neck. She smiled, a fragile, ancient smile, and whispered, "Thank you, dear," without looking at me. Her spoon dropped softly against the sheet, a tiny, obedient sound. She didn't eat, she didn't sleep, but she lived, with the serenity of a secret being well fed. At dawn, I checked her vitals again. Her hands felt like pressed paper, thin, deliberate, and almost warm. I weighed her wrists in my palms. There was no flesh left, only a stubborn pulse that refused to quit. The air in the room was thick with the warmth of too many breaths exhaled in silence. Her IV dripped slowly, rhythmically, an imitation of rain made by machines. When I placed the stethoscope against her chest, I heard something strange. Not arrhythmia, not a murmur, but a faint whisper, like a voice buried behind her heartbeat. "Do you hear it?" she asked suddenly. "What?" I replied, pressing the earpieces tighter, trying to locate reality. "When they stop eating," she said, "the house eats for them." The corridor groaned, metal against metal, the sound of a cart being dragged, and my pen trembled as I tried to write it all down. The night shift sharpens every sound. The elevator chews through floors like an old beast, and the ice machine cracks bones that aren't there. At 3:17 a.m., the hour the clock loved to repeat, I heard music, faint, metallic, and impossible. A music box, maybe, or a ghost of one. I pushed open the door of 312 with my hip. Lydia was awake, her silhouette curved, alert, unmoving. The monitor glowed gently, the calm heartbeat of a lake without wind. Under her pillow, my fingers touched something warm. A small wooden box, smooth and fragile, tied with a blue ribbon. When I lifted the lid, the air filled with the scent of lavender and dusted wood, like an attic that remembers its secrets. Inside the box was a cassette tape, labeled in shaky handwriting, "For when you stop chewing." The knot in my stomach didn't belong to hunger anymore. Beneath the box, a letter lay folded, the paper soft with time and breath. "Lydia," it read, "if you can't swallow, listen. It will hold you up like it did for me." The signature was a blur, more drawing than name. Nora, Rosa, voice. I slid the items back exactly where I found them. The air in the room cooled instantly, as though the walls had closed their mouth. Out in the hall, the fluorescent lights hummed lazily, their song too long, too human. I thought of the rule book, of the things we aren't supposed to touch or open, and how sometimes curiosity feels like duty. When I left, the box made a tiny click, as if one tooth of its music wheel had woken up. I began writing everything down. Maybe the paper would hold what I couldn't. Day 1, she doesn't eat, she listens. Day 2, the music box winds itself at 3:17. No one enters, no one leaves. Day 3, her vitals rise with the music and fall with the silence. The pages smelled of ink and sleepless fingers. During breaks, the other nurses laughed into their coffee cups, their exhaustion tasting like burnt sugar. "You're getting too attached, Marina," one of them warned without looking up. I nodded, pretending to agree, but inside, I was already turning keys that weren't mine. Every night, room 312 seemed a little longer, the shadows a little hungrier, and the box waited, breathing quietly under her pillow. I borrowed an old Walkman from the Lost and Found, guilt running down my sleeve. The tape hissed before the voice began. A woman's voice, low and patient, filled my ears with dust and warmth. "Lydia, if you hear this, breathe for me." She didn't speak of food. She spoke of promises. "Don't chew bread," the voice said. "Chew memories." She described rain on tin roofs, a kitchen full of steam, a scarf scented with violet perfume. As the tape spun, Lydia's chest began to move differently, slower, deeper, as though she was swinging in some invisible cradle. The monitor's rhythm softened. I pulled the earphones away, but the voice stayed. "See," Lydia whispered with her eyes closed, "that's dinner." In the bottom drawer of her nightstand, I found strips of film negatives, amber and wounded with light. Held up to the window, they revealed two silhouettes facing a lake and a dog trapped mid-bark. Between the strips, a small note in violet ink read, "No solids, feed her stories." The glass of the window was cold, the kind of cold that listens. Outside, an engine coughed like it was trying to stay alive. Lydia brushed her fingers over the negatives, slow and reverent. "Who was the woman on the tape?" I asked. "There isn't just one," she said. "We multiply when we stop eating." Her smile folded the air like a sheet being made. My tongue felt dry, as though I'd swallowed the dust of photographs myself. Under her mattress, I found a blue notebook, its elastic tired from years of opening and closing. The first pages were calorie counts, absurdly precise for someone who hadn't eaten in months. Then came stories. Night 14, they read me the letter from the well. I slept without hunger. Night 21, the lady with the green apron brought a song. Each entry smelled different. Baby cologne, wood smoke, something faintly floral. In the margins, my own name appeared. "Tonight, Marina took care of me. Her hands are made of water." My eyes burned. I closed the notebook too hard. Outside, the medication cart squealed, leaving behind a metallic scent. That night, I promised myself not to let the box play alone again. Sometimes, to care for someone, you must learn to disobey softly. In the staff break room, I recorded my own voice, one I barely recognized. "Lydia, my name is Marina. When I was little, I changed a test result so my mother wouldn't panic. It made everything worse. I never told anyone." The echo of the empty room came back like water, ripples across a black lake. The air smelled of reheated coffee and tired plastic. When I returned to her room, my heart climbed the stairs before I did. I played the recording quietly, like leaving bread on a stranger's table. Lydia opened her eyes halfway, that look of someone waking up in two worlds at once. The monitor drew a single higher wave. She still didn't eat, but my confession fed her, like a hand reaching up from under the surface. At 3:17 a.m., a shadow paused outside the door. The hallway light gave her hair a rough halo. She wore a long coat with pearl buttons, and her scent was lavender mixed with old rain. She didn't knock. She simply existed. "Can she come in?" I asked softly, though I wasn't sure whom I was speaking to. Lydia nodded, barely, a yes disguised as the movement of air. The woman entered and placed a new tape beside the box. Its label read, "Afternoon at the Well." She squeezed my shoulder gently. Her hand was warm, unnaturally so. When I turned to follow her, the hallway was empty. Only her perfume lingered, a signature in the air. The tape began with a crackle, like fire trying to remember itself. A woman's voice, slow, steady, painted a picture of dust, dry air, and sunlight breaking on old stones. There was a promise, she said. As long as you listen, you won't fall. Lydia closed her eyes, her lips parting slightly as though tasting invisible rain. A tear crawled down her temple, small and deliberate, like a snail crossing glass. For a second, even the clock froze. Time held its breath. In my pocket, my phone vibrated with a message from an unknown number. Don't leave her alone at 4. Goosebumps rose on my arms, tiny warnings made of air. I pressed stop. The voice vanished. The silence turned into an animal waiting. Hospitals at 4 a.m. have a particular sound, the hum of machines changing shift with the night itself. Room 312 looked untouched, yet the air tasted metallic, like keys or old coins. Lydia was staring at the window, her breath fogging a small, perfect circle on the glass. They're leaving, she whispered. Who? I asked. The ones who bring the voices. I moved closer to fix her blanket. Beneath it, I found the box, open and empty. The tape was gone. In its place, a note written in pencil. Next time, it will be you. My chest tightened. The hallway behind me was silent, too silent, like it had swallowed its own echo. Then, somewhere far off, a door closed, soft, final. I returned later with a small flashlight and a head full of questions that didn't want answers. When I pressed my ear against the wall behind her bed, I heard them, voices. Faint, muffled, like whispers preserved in plaster. Marina, one of them said, my name, clear from somewhere deep inside. I stepped back so fast I almost tripped.